Massie.
His desperation is only exceeded by his dishonesty.
Instead, Barr endorsed Massie's opponent, the Trump-backed Gallrein of Shelbyville.
If there is one issue, one specific policy issue that you differ from Thomas Massie the most, what would it be?
Oh, this is easy. Voting with the Democrats with deeply flawed logic.
In an interview with me at the event, Gallrein was critical of the way his opponent at times goes against the president's wishes.
He's no Republican. If he had the courage of his convictions, he'd just go ahead and declare libertarian and move on.
And this is a very low IQ argument, and people continue to make it. Now, first off, when you say voting with Democrats, I've tried to explain this before, but Democrats aren't voting against Trump because they're super concerned with the power of the government. It's not what they're voting on. They're not concerned with the spending on that thing. They don't really care about that. They don't really care about the Epstein files, of course. None of them said a word about it when they had total control. They don't care about these things. They actually just care about being against Trump all the time. And so if you imagine there could be a scenario where Republicans are doing something that is stupid, and it's legitimately stupid, and it legitimately goes against the Constitution or the spirit of the Constitution, or it increases spending, refuses to cut spending, or it adds new powers to the government that the government shouldn't have. And imagine, if you can imagine that kind of wild scenario, Democrats are going to vote against that. They're going to vote against it, not because they care about the things. They don't care about the things. They're going to go against that because they're just going to go against Trump and Republicans all the time. But there could also be a scenario where someone who swore an oath to the Constitution and made campaign promises decides that they're not going to vote for that either, and they don't care what party put it up. That's not the same thing as voting with Democrats. This idea of going against Trump, that's weird cult stuff. I've heard Massie say in the past that there's two different forms of TDS. You know, there's the one where you are against Trump at all times, no matter what he's doing. He could cure cancer and you'd be against it, you know. And then there's the other form of TDS where Trump can do no wrong and you are with him at all times. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if it was like a Democrat policy that Democrats were pushing just last year and everyone was against it. And Trump says, we're going to do this thing. And everyone's like, yeah, Trump. That's what we're going to do. That's the other form of TDS. So there's a lot of people that are afflicted by this thing. It's like super low IQ stuff that drives me nuts. I would love for people to just make the argument. We've got people here in the group that probably make the argument better than any of these people are. This is important politically. Yes, it's not perfect. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, or play the long game. Make sure you can stay in office so you can do good later on. Take a win, even if it's not as much as you want. Play the game a little bit more so you can be there to continue playing the game. There's all sorts of critiques or strategy ideas that you could give Thomas Massie. You might be right, you might be wrong, but at least it's an honest argument. All of these arguments are coming from people who honestly are just hypocrites, and they know they're hypocrites, and they can't really call Thomas Massie out on any of the specific things, because the things that Massie is calling for or voting for are things that those people supported not that long ago. Whether it's forcing the government to release the Epstein files, which everyone wanted to do, or cutting spending, or getting rid of not funding the Department of Education, or getting rid of the kill switches on cars, or cutting out the funding for all of these programs that are used for fraud, or for DEI, or for funding abortions, or anything like that. They can't call Massie out specifically on the items. And so all they're left with are these really dumb, just low IQ posts about how he's a Democrat. Massie's a Democrat because he wants to spend less money. What a stupid argument. Does anyone hear what you're saying at all? And then this one. This person says they're a fan of Massie, but he's an awful congressman. Politics, especially when you have the majority, is a team activity. If you can't or won't help the team advance the ball, you need to go. Well, there is an assumption not found in evidence in that statement, and that is that the team is trying to advance the ball. If Let's stay in the sports analogy. Let's stay with football. I just see a team that willingly, intentionally loses yardage all the time. Sometimes they'll intentionally fumble it back to the other team's end zone and let them recover it so they can score instead. They'll do that. They're always just losing yardage, hardly ever advancing the ball. And what they'll essentially come up and say, like, here's our plan. We've been losing 10 yards intentionally each play. You know, we just kind of refuse to do anything, and it's easier to go back there. We've got all these people in front of us right here. Let's just go back there. Here's our plan. We've been going back 10 yards. Instead, this one, we're going to compromise. We're just going to go back 1 yard. How about that? What if we just go back 1 yard? And we won't fully fumble the ball. We're going to keep the ball, but we're just going to lose 1 yard intentionally. And then if you don't want to do that, if you're like, I think actually we should go forward. Why don't we try and advance the ball? How about we try and go that way? It could be a little bit harder, but we should actually go that way. That's kind of the whole point of this thing. And you're like, you're not a team player, traitor. That's the argument a lot of people are making.